All right, the first section that we covered in this quarter was section 3.3. On page 833, that's where you can find practice problems. What you need to know out of section 3.3 is graphing systems of inequalities. That's where we had an x and a y axis. We graphed two lines, and then we shaded where they had overlapping regions. Okay? Now, to be able to do this, however, we must be able to put an equation in y equals mx plus b form, because that is the absolute easiest way to graph a line. In this form, remember, m represents the slope, b represents the y-intercept. All right? When you're graphing a line, do you start with slope or do you start with the y-intercept? You start with the y-intercept. The y-intercept, when you go like into Google and you want to get directions somewhere, they always ask you first for a starting point, right? You always start at your y-intercept, your slope or your directions telling you where to go.
That's the x?
X is x, y is y.
X-intercept?
No. It's just the letter x in the equation. It will show up as the letter x and y will show up as the letter y. All right? All right, let's recall first of all, how do we graph a linear inequality? Just one linear inequality. In this specific inequality, we can identify the slope. What is it? Our slope is equal to 1/2. All right? What are the two words that we used to represent slope? We said something over something. Rise over run, which means your vertical movement over horizontal movement. If the top number is positive, we're moving how? We're moving up, and then the bottom number is positive, so we're moving to the right. Okay? But we can't move until we know where to move from. 3 is my y-intercept. At 3 on the y-axis, that is a point on my line. To find another point on my line, I'm going to move according to what the slope told me. From there, I'm going to move up 1 and to the right 2. And it only takes 2 points to graph a line. Now,
is this the thing where we shade above it?
We either shade above or below. And we either draw the line solid or broken. Okay? If it's solid, it means that all points on that line are included in the solution. If it's broken, then it's simply a boundary telling us where we have to stop. This specific line, would it be solid or broken? Why?
It's not equal to.
It's not equal to. It's simply greater than. So this is a broken line going through these 2 points, and the shading needs to be a greater than. All right? Now remember, we imagine that this is the fulcrum of a seesaw. If you've got a little fat potato sitting over here, and he jumps off, okay? Is the seesaw going to flip over to straighten itself out, or is it simply going to rotate back to its position? It's simply going to rotate back this way, okay? So we want above, which means this area here, and that's our shading. All right, now on the exam, we're not going to be simply graphing one linear inequality. We're going to be doing a system, which means 2 of these on one graph. Now, if you recall, we did that by using arrows and then looking for where the arrows were pointing towards each other. If I asked you to graph this system of inequalities, what's the first problem that we run into? They're not in y-intercept form. Okay, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So, okay, put it that way. Solve for y. Start by bringing x to the other side. We're going to subtract 4x from both sides. Okay? Then we're going to divide by 3, but we have to divide everything by 3. So we have y is greater than or equal to negative 4/3 x plus 4. So, let's just talk about this line right now. It's going to be a solid line, right? Passing through the y-intercept at positive 4 with a slope of negative 4/3, and the shading is going to be above it. All right? Let's take the second one. We add x to both sides. Then we divide everything by 2. Now let's talk about this line. Will it be solid or broken?
Solid.
Solid, passing through the y-axis at where?
Wait, how'd you change x over 2 to 1/2 times?
This is 1x over 2, or 1/2 times x. Same thing. Okay? It's the same thing.
You don't have to like say you're multiplying it instead of dividing it by the numbers.
Because here I'm just trying to get rid of a 2 here. If this was a fraction, I'd multiply by the inverse. It depends on what I'm trying to do to this. Okay? Solid line going through the y-axis at negative 1/2 with a slope of positive 1/2. All right, let's graph them.
Is the piecewise
No, this is not piecewise. We're not doing piecewise on this exam. Okay, let's start with this inequality on the left. Crosses the y-axis at positive 4. Has a slope of down 4 and to the right 3. We already said the line is solid. And we're shading a region greater than that line, which would be in this direction, because if it were to flatten itself out, that would be above. Notice I didn't shade yet. Now on your paper, you could shade very lightly and then just look for where it's overlapping and darken. The second one crosses the y-axis at negative 1/2 and has a slope of up 1, which means we go up to positive 1/2 and to the right 2. This line is also solid. And if this were to flatten out, the region shaded would be here, because it's greater than. Well, by the 2 lines that I've created, I've made 4 new little regions. Which one of those 4 regions has arrows pointing in towards each other? The top one. So this is where your shading would be found. Okay?
What's that called?
Graphing systems of linear inequalities.
So you can have one of these.
Right.
Not just a regular one. Just one by
Right.
itself.
Right.
Are, we gonna
Not one by itself. It's going to be a combination of the 2.
are there going to be step functions?
No, we did that in the first quarter.
Oh.
Okay? All right. This is another system of linear inequalities. What kind of lines are those if they have a single letter?
Straight
Oh,
lines,
straight.
like,
Well, all lines are
Horizontal.
straight.
Horizontal or vertical?
Horizontal or vertical, okay? If it says X, is that horizontal or vertical? Think before you yell out.
Vertical.
Vertical. It's going through the x-axis. X is always 5 units to the right of the origin, okay? It's a vertical line. It is solid. And the shading for this line is less than. So if I don't have an up and down, all I've got is left and right. What's less than?
Left.
Left. Left is less. All right? Then the second line, when it's just got a Y, is a